Math! Hey everyone, this is Mr. Regner and this is the Aftermath. Today on the Aftermath we are taking a look at week 18's focus for day number 3. So you can follow along as you watch this video or use this video to review to prepare for this week's quiz. Let's go ahead and get started with number 1. Number 1 says, the steps Quentin took to evaluate the expression 7m divided by 2 times 3 when m equals 6 are shown below. What should Quentin have done differently in order to evaluate the expression? So for this question, the easiest way to answer it is just to simply do the math ourselves. So we're going to take out m and plug in the value of m, which in this case today is 6. So let's do the math and use PEMDAS to use order of operations to solve and simplify. Once we've solved it and simplified it, then we can take a look at our multiple choice options and see which one is the best option that we'd recommend that Quentin do. In other words, where did he mess up and what should he do to fix it? Let's go to our paper and get to work. Alright, so I am going to show my work over here. I have my expression 7m divided by 2 times 3. I'm going to take out that m and put in a 6. And I know 7m means 7 times 6. Divided by 2 times 3. So there's my expression. With order of operations, I always think of PEMDAS. That helps me to remember parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division in the same step, addition, subtraction in the same step from left to right. So I'm going to multiply first. 7 times 6, that's going to be 42 divided by 2 times 3. I just carry everything down. Now I have a division problem that I'm going to work on first. That's 42 divided by 2. That's going to give me 21 times 3. Now I have a multiplication problem. 21 times 3. If I'm not sure, I could always do this off to the side, but 3 times 1 is 3 and 3 times 2 is 6. So that's going to give me 63. When I look over here at what Quentin did, it looks like he has 7 times 6 equals 42. Okay, that was the first thing I did. And then 2 times 3 equals 6. Whoops, it looks like he should have divided 42 divided by 2 instead of multiplying there. That's where the critical error happened. So I know that option E cannot be correct here, because option E says nothing since his answer is correct. Letter A says multiplied 42 divided by 2 by 3. Let's see, 42 divided by 2 by 3. That's what we did, 21 times 3. So A is in the running here. Multiplied 42 by 6. Well, that doesn't seem right. Maybe they multiplied first and then divided, or multiplied. That wouldn't work because multiplied. Letter C, divided 42 divided by 2 by 3. No, they didn't really divide that by 3. That should be multiplied. Divided 42 by 5. That might be if they added these. I'm not really sure what they were thinking there. So the only logical answer there is A, and I know that because I showed my work here. So not only do we show our work using PEMDAS, plugging in the value of m, but also using some logical thought process to answer the question correctly. Alright, let's go ahead now and move on to question number 2. Now I want to let you know that up front, number 2 has a lot of words, but we can kind of see through the words and find the expression that we are going to look at, or the equation that we're looking at to solve. So let's get to it. Number 2 says, Andy's friend told him that he could earn $55.25 for handing out flyers at a local concert. Andy wants to calculate the hourly rate. If he works a total of 4 25/100 hours, the equation 4 25/100 times x equals 55 25/100 can be used to determine his hourly rate. What would Andy's hourly rate be? So when I look at this, again, there's a lot of words here. I'm more interested in this. That's going to be my equation. I'm going to rewrite it actually. So I have 4 25/100 times x equals 55 25/100. Okay, all I'm doing is solving for x because x is his hourly rate and I want to know what that's going to be. So in order to do that, I have 44.25 times x. I'm going to divide by 4 25/100 on both sides. Oops, 4 25/100. Okay, when I do that over here, that cancels out. All I have is x, and that's what I want. I want that x to be alone, Here I have a division problem where I have to actually do the division. I have to do the steps. And all week long we've seen this before, where we are dividing using decimals. So it's a good idea to review your computation skills on this. I need to move my decimal over as far as I can, and today that's 2 places. So that decimal moves up in my dividend. So I have to think about this. How many times does 425 go into 5? It doesn't. 55, it doesn't. 552, probably once. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and guarantee it's once. So I have 425 here because 1 times 425 is 425. I subtract. I just use my skills with subtraction to do this. So I have to borrow here from the 5. That becomes a 4. That becomes a 12. 12 minus 5 is going to leave me with 7. 4 minus 2 leaves me with 2. 5 minus 4 leaves me with 1. So I have 127 left over. I bring down my 5. So I have 1,275. And I'm looking to see how many times 425 goes into it. Now, in order to answer this question, we probably have to use guess and check, because these are big numbers and I don't really know how many times 425 goes into 1,275. So I have to guess. When I guess, I'll check it by multiplying and see what works out best. So let me think here. Logical thinking tells me that if this were just 400, okay, now 400 goes into 1,200 3 times, because 4 times 3 is 12. Let me see if that's going to work out for me by doing that as my first guess. 425 times 3. So 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 3 times 4, that gives me 12. That's 1,275, and it turns out that that was an excellent guess on my part. I'm going to pat myself on the back for that one later. So I'm going to put in a 3 here. 3 times 425, I already know, is 1,275. I subtract and I get 0. So my answer then is 13. Now a big hint for you is that tomorrow on your quiz, or day 4 on your quiz, our answer is going to be a whole number. There's not going to be some big remainder or some big decimal answer. So that will be a big clue for you. My answer here is x equals 13, but I need to make sure I put a proper label on here. And since we're trying to figure out the hourly rate, it's going to be dollars per hour. So that's $13 per hour. We want to include that label because that's ultra important for number 2. All right, there's our work for number 2. Let's move along now and take a look at number 3. Now number 3 is one that you can probably solve logically, just thinking it through. But it's very important that you're able to show your work and know how to show your work so you get full credit on your focus quiz. Let's take a look at it. All right, so number 3 says, you watch a marathon of your favorite TV show for 8.5 hours. One episode is 1/4 hour long. How many episodes do you watch? So in order to answer this question, I need to take my total time divided by the episode length. Okay, so with that in mind, my total time is 8.5 hours. My episode length is 1/4 hour. So I have 8 1/2 divided by 1/4. In order to answer this question, I have to turn my 8.5 into an improper fraction. And I do that by working around the clock. I'm going to multiply and add. So 2 times 8 is 16, plus 1 is 17. That's 17 over 2. This is going to be divided by 1/4. Now I'm dividing fractions and I keep, change, flip. So I always think about KCF here. So I keep my first fraction, 17 over 2. I change my sign into multiplication, and then I flip or use the reciprocal of my second fraction. That becomes 4 over 1. At this point, I can cross simplify to make my life easier. So 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 goes into 4 twice. So now I have 17 times 2 on the top and 1 times 1 on the bottom. If I don't know what 17 times 2 is, I can of course do the calculation. I'll do that off to the side here just to show you how fun math can be. 2 times 7 is 4, 2 times 1 is 2, and look at that. Oops, what did I mean? What did I do that for? 2 times 7 is 14, 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1, that should be 3. My bad. So look, math can be fun and also confusing apparently. So that's 34 over 1, which we know is really 34 whole, and then I want to make sure I include my label. The question again says, how many episodes do you watch? Well, it's going to be 34 episodes. So we have to include that label on number 3. All right, moving on now to number 4. I believe number 4 is going to be a very easy question for us this week, but it's really important that we understand how to answer the question. So pay attention. Let's take a look at it. All right, number 4 says, in the chart below, use all of the letters in the boxes to match each expression on the left to its equivalent expression. So again, we have boxes here on the left and then expressions on the top. We can use the distributive property to distribute our 2 here in this first example to the 8 and to the 12. Another idea is we can just simplify each of these down all the way. And that's actually what I'm going to do here because I think some of you will find this to be maybe an easier way, maybe it makes more sense. All right, so I'm going to take 8 plus 12 times 2. So I'm going to call this one number 1, call that number 2, oops, and that number 3. So for number 1, I have 2 times 8 plus 12. I just rewrote it. Now 8 plus 12 gives me 20, and then 2 times 20 gives me 40. So I'm going to go ahead and write down 40 over here. For number 2, I have 4 times 4 plus 7. So if I take 4 plus 7, let's see, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 11 times 4. That's 44. So for number 2, I know that's going to be 44. And then for number 3, which I'm going to squeeze here in the middle, that's 6 times 4 plus 6. Well, 4 plus 6 is 10. So 6 times 10 is 60. So I'm going to write 60 over here. Now I'm going to call these A, B, and C. Just for labeling purposes, maybe this is going to make it a little easier to figure out where I'm at. So for letter A, I have 16 plus 28. I can do the math here and add them together. So 8 plus 6, that's going to give me 14. 1 plus 2 plus 1 is going to give me 4. That's 44. I have 16 plus 24 for letter B. So that's 24 plus 16. Let me add them together. 6 plus 4 is 10. 2 plus 1 plus 1 is 4. That's 40. I'm going to put my answer up top. And then for letter C, I have 36 plus 24. Add them together. 6 plus 4 is 10. 1 plus 3 is 4. Plus 2 is 6. That's 60. So now it's just a matter of matching them up. So take a look. I have 44 here. I have 44 there. So my answer is D. I have 40 here. I have 40 there. So my answer is B. I have 60 here and 60 here. So my answer is I. There's going to be one answer on each line for our quiz, just like there is today. So there's our work for focus for this week. Hopefully this video has been helpful for you. Again, you can review it as often as necessary. Remember, you can even rework the problems and then check the video to see how you did. Again, I'm Mr. Regner. This has been The Aftermath. Good luck on your quiz this week and have a great day.
Math, aftermath, it's the aftermath. Aftermath, it's the aftermath. Math class is fun, but when it's done, stay in the zone. On your own, it's math review, made just for you. Take a video wherever you go. Aftermath, it's the aftermath. Aftermath, it's the aftermath. Oh yeah.